everybody. So I wanted to bring attention to a list called Librum. I'm going to be doing a full tutorial for you. This was created by Oppo and the Librum team, and it's a new Wabbajack list that transforms Skyrim and SkyrimVR and Skyrim Special Edition. They've made it for both, which is awesome, but it transforms it into a very kind of hardcore-ish experience. We're leveling up, and it's got survival elements, and it turns Skyrim into a very dangerous place. And it's beautiful, and it's got a lot of awesome gameplay features, so you don't have to download a bunch of mods yourself. It's already pretty much complete in this list, and it's something similar to that I wanted to achieve a couple years ago with my own Wabbajack list for Skyrim, but this is done much better. So yeah, that's it. I'm going to be going to my desktop view to explain a little bit more about this and get you set up with Wabbajack, and then I'll come back into VR and show you all the MCM stuff and get everything squared away. So, oh, and I'm freezing. Oh boy. Anyways, I hope that you guys enjoy this tutorial. Alright, hello everybody. So I'm going to be going through kind of a complete setup for the Librum Modlist. Now Librum is a bit of a survival, hardcore-ish experience for Skyrim and SkyrimVR. It's a complete mod list. I'm going to specifically be talking about SkyrimVR since that's the way I play Skyrim these days, but it also does work on Skyrim Special Edition, and some of the information in this video might be helpful for that as well. Now I want to point out that everything in this video is subject to change. This is still actively being developed, so 3 to 4 months from now, what I talk about in this video might not be completely up to date. So the best information that you can find will be linked in the description on the website and the README. So if you plan on installing this, definitely go through that, since that is going to have the most up-to-date information for installing this list. Now this video will be split up into about 6 or 7 broad sections. The first is going to be going over the basic Wabbajack install for Librum, including configuring SkyrimVR for the first time for a first-time setup. After we get that installed, I'll be going over some of the optional included plugins that I would recommend turning on and configuring to get the best experience out of this game. The next section is going to be my own personal edits that I made to this list, including things like turning off the EMB to get a little bit more performance out of this list, and adding stuff like FPS VR, private profile redirector. Now you definitely don't have to do this. The version that's included with this is fantastic, and if you just want to kind of play off the bat and not configure stuff to your own preferences, then that's a great way to play this. It's done very well, but I will be going over through some of the more advanced techniques as well in the fourth section, where I'll be talking about merging plugins, since this list doesn't give you a lot of extra room to install your own mods, so you will have to merge stuff if you plan on adding 3 or 4 or 5 more mods to this list. After I do that, we'll be jumping into the game, and I'll be showing you how to set up all the MCMs, as well as some of the MCMs from the added mods that I have. And then the final section will be talking about the character creation. In this, since that's done a little bit differently from regular Skyrim, and your initial character creation is going to be important, as well as I'll be talking about like leveling up and some of the other mechanics which make this kind of an interesting way to play Skyrim, and definitely different from the normal base Skyrim that you've probably played countless times before. So that is how this video is going to be sectioned out. I will have timestamps in the description, so you can skip to any section if you need to. So let me go ahead and get started with that. Alright, so before I get started showing you how to install Wabbajack and this list, you are going to need a Nexus account, and preferably you're going to want Nexus Premium with that. I'm not going to say that it's impossible to do this with a free account, but there's around 800 mods in this list, so unless you want to spend like 12 hours clicking on every one of those links individually and waiting, I would recommend you get premium. So you just go to nexus.com, set up an account. It's pretty easy, enter your email and stuff, and then you can get premium. So for 1 month, it's going to be around $3. That's the cheapest option. If you do a lot of stuff with mods like me, you may want to get lifetime, which is what I have, and this makes it so there's no cap. So that's how the Wabbajack program works, and it'll just download everything automatically for you. You can just walk away. Otherwise, you will have to sit there and click on every individual link and then drag it into the download folder. But I wouldn't do that for this, so get premium. All right, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is getting our SkyrimVR ready to be installed by the Librum Wabbajack list. So first thing that you want to do is, if you've previously modded SkyrimVR with something like Vortex or Nexus Mod Manager, which you shouldn't be using anyway, you want to go ahead and find wherever you have SkyrimVR installed. If you don't know how to find that, you can go to your Steam launcher and then right-click on wherever it says Elder Scrolls V SkyrimVR. Go to Properties, click on Local Files, and then go to Browse. And that will, I already had it open, but it will bring you directly to the folder where you have SkyrimVR. So once you're here, go ahead and either back this up into another folder, or preferably you want to just go ahead and delete it. So drag that right here. I'm not actually going to delete mine because I have stuff that I want. But go ahead and bring it to the trash, and then what you want to do is you want to reinstall SkyrimVR, or you can do Properties and go to Local Files, and then you can do Verify Integrity of Game Files. That will give you a totally blank, clean state of SkyrimVR, which is what you want before running Wabbajack. So go ahead and do that. And then what you're going to want to do is you can go to the Wabbajack website, which I will have the link in the description. Find this big button, download that. Again, I've already got mine downloaded, so I'm not going to download it again to save space. But once you have the Wabbajack exe downloaded, bring that to its own separate folder. Now, also, I didn't mention this before, but for SkyrimVR, preferably before you run Wabbajack, you want this to not be in the program files folder. So the best way is to have it on a separate hard drive under like a different Steam apps folder. You can do that just by installing the game into a different hard drive, and Steam will automatically make a folder. You don't want it under program files or program files 86, because Wabbajack will have issues getting certain files needed if it's under the program files, since that is the most protected folder on your PC. So preferably you do want it in its own separate thing outside of program files, like on another hard drive. There are ways to make a separate folder if you only have like one hard drive, one solid state hard drive. There's ways to do it on one like your C drive or something. But if you have another hard drive, it's easier to do it like that. And also, you also preferably want to have the game and Wabbajack installed on a solid state hard drive instead of like a regular SATA drive, just because this list is fairly big, so having it on a solid state drive will make sure that things are running smoothly. So anyways, as I was saying, after you have the Wabbajack exe downloaded, go ahead and put it in its own separate folder. I would call it like Wabbajack, which is what I did right here. So call that folder Wabbajack, open that up, drag the exe into that folder. And then once that is there, you want to go ahead and just run SkyrimVR once. So turn on your headset, press play on vanilla SkyrimVR, get into the game, and just make sure everything is set up and configured with the different, so the game knows that it's been run once, so it'll create the files and folders needed. All right, so now you can take off your headset and then open up Wabbajack, double click on it. It'll start downloading stuff and updating it if needed. Go ahead and browse Modlist, and you can go to SkyrimVR right here. Scroll down into the Librum SkyrimVR list, click on this download Modlist button. And if you want to, I'm going to do that right now, but if you want to see any of the mods in here, I'll show you that in a second. So that's downloading. second. That'll automatically open up the website if you didn't already have it open. It does that for every Wabbajack mod list. So the manifest is how you can see all the mods in here. You can also do it on the website. Website will just bring you to the website, and then the README, I think that also just brings you to the website. Okay. Yep. Cool. So we have this open. Now, we're not going to do anything yet. We want to, so whatever hard drive you installed SkyrimVR on, in my case, it's on my F drive. I had it on a different hard drive. You can see we have SkyrimVR installed. On this one, you want to make another folder on the root of that same hard drive. So in my case, I will do Librum tutorial. All right, and this is where you're going to install the Modlist too. So, you don't want to change this. For the install location, we're gonna choose Librum tutorial. All right, the download location, you can it'll automatically choose that same folder. So, here, I'll do it again. If we choose Librum tutorial, it should automatically choose like a download location in there. In my case, I'm actually going to put it on a separate hard drive because this list is like, it's pretty, I think it's like 200 gigs or something. It's a lot of gigabytes. It's like 70. You need a lot of space. I want to say like around 100 gigs or more. So I have a bigger hard drive. So in my case, I made one called Librum tutorial downloads. So that's where I'm gonna point the download location to. Do that, do Librum tutorial downloads. But you can also it'll automatically choose that same, like a folder in that Librum tutorial. If you have enough space, definitely go for it. In my case, I do not have enough space for all the downloads and the mod list to go in one hard drive, so I'm splitting it out. All right, so once you have your folder selected for the install location and the download location, you can go ahead and check on the overwrite installation box if you want. It's not totally necessary the first time you're running this, but go ahead and click on the play button after you've done that. And it'll start downloading all of the mods. This might take a while, so go ahead and get like coffee or water or something while this is installing. And once it's done, it's gonna say installation complete. So I'm actually gonna skip ahead until we have that all installed. Okay, so I'm back. I didn't actually finish installing it again just because I already have it installed. And I did look into it. It's around 200 gigabytes to install everything on a single hard drive, and that's not including what you would need for SkyrimVR. So I didn't want to wait here for 200 gigabytes to download and install again because it's already there. But anyways, once you have that installation complete, you're going to want to find the folder where you pointed the install to. And by the way, if you have any kind of issues with installing this via Wabbajack, if you get an error message, come over to the README and there's a bunch of troubleshooting steps that you can do, like turning off your antivirus program, rerunning it on admin mode, etc. So try a bunch of these troubleshooting steps if you get an error, but you theoretically shouldn't. It should just work the first time. So after it has finished installing, go ahead and find that install folder. Yours might be named differently. In my case, I just named it Librum. And you're gonna wanna find the thing called Mod Organizer 2. That is what does all the mods. And yours, it's gonna look like this. So it's gonna say Librum VR if you install the VR version, or Librum SE for the special edition version. In my case, we're just gonna be doing the VR version. All right, cool. So moving on, the first thing that you want to do is we have that open, but you want to go back into that folder, find the game folder files, keep this window open. Then you're gonna want to go back into the root directory of your SkyrimVR folder. So in my case, it's going to be on a different hard drive, other SSD, Steam Games, Steam Apps, Common, and SkyrimVR. All right, you're going to want to take this and drag all of that into this folder. In my case, I'm not going to do that just because I have done some things differently, like I'm not using the EMB. So I will show you how to use an alternative to EMBs if you're interested, but in your case, if you want to use the EMBs that are included and they do look fantastic, go ahead and just drag that in there. All right. So now we have this open. You can press F5 if something got weird after you drag that over. That'll just refresh Mod Organizer 2. And, excuse me, we are going to be talking about some of the optional things that you can include. And he actually goes into a lot of the stuff right here. Some of the optional things, which you can either disable or enable, like end times. And they're all like marked red with this. So no perks and level up. But specifically, before you start messing with any of this, the one thing I would recommend doing, I've done this in like every video I've done, if you want to customize this list on your own, under this profile section in Mod Organizer 2, go ahead and click on the Manage button, highlight Librum VR, copy that, and call it My Game, or My Custom Game, or anything that you want. That way you can always go back to a complete, fresh install of that, and you can start messing with this to your heart's extent. So the things that I have personally enabled in my game is Dragonborn speaks naturally. This will let you talk using your own voice to NPCs. I've also enabled the VR menu mouse cursor, which gives you the mouse in VR. There are some bugs with that, like sometimes you have to click twice on certain things, but it's not a big deal for me. If you don't like that, you can turn it off. Auto Sneak and Jump VR will let you jump using by physically jumping. You can jump, and then crouching by physically crouching, which is nice from an immersion standpoint. And then I've also enabled Magevr, which gives you a Magevr backpack, and I'll show you where to put this in a second. Actually, if you do enable Magevr, you want to drag the ESP up. So it's going to be at the bottom when you enable it. So go ahead and drag this up. It has to be above the 128th slot, I believe. So I think on mine, I put it like right here. I put it somewhere on 70, 79. Go ahead and do that before you even get into the game. And I also enabled no map menu. I did enable these, but I changed mine a little bit. SkyrimVR focused, you want to enable that. That is useful. That'll keep the game in focus when you're playing. So it's less likely that you're going to crash with that. And you can try some of these other things like the time block module if you want. He goes into some other things here that you might want to enable. There's also the Librum UI customizer, which will be under UI, I think. UI. Librum. Alright, it's right here. So you can right click it and then do reinstall mod. And then they have a really nice faux mod setup, so you can choose any kind of font that you want. In my case, I just kind of kept the normal one, so I didn't even reinstall this. I just kept the normal Librum font. But if you want like a different font, go ahead and do that and customize it to your heart's extent. And then there's also an EMB selector if you want to change the EMB. So I would do SkyrimVR if you're doing SkyrimVR. And then they have different EMBs that you can choose. Ominous is the default, so choose whatever EMB you want. Now in my case, I'm not actually using an EMB, so I will be showing you how to do an alternative to EMBs in the next section. Alright, the other thing that you might want to know about, for Dragonborn Speaks Naturally, you might want to customize some of the INIs for this. So for this one specifically, you can open it up in Explorer, go to plugins, click on this, and then by default, I believe this is going to have like .sample. That's how it's going to be set up. So get rid of the sample thing and then open this up. And this is where you can customize some of the different phrases. In my case, the only thing that I did was I changed some of the goodbye phrases. So on default, the only thing that's here is I'll talk to you later, and that's enough chit chat for now. In my case, I added goodbye, fuck off, and get out of my face as goodbye phrases, so I can tell Lydia to fuck off when I don't want to talk to her anymore, which is really fun. So you can do that or add whatever goodbye phrases you want, and there's also other things you can do, like you can add different console commands by using your voice. And you can summon equipment, which isn't as useful these days because there's Spell Wheel VR, which I'll be going over in the game, for like a VR quick favorite menu type of thing. Auto Sneak and Jump VR, go ahead and right click on that. If you have this enabled, go to plugins, go to the INI, and you're gonna wanna set this to your own height. In my case, I'm 5'11", so I set the jump threshold to 1.8 meters. If you're shorter or taller than that, you may want to change that. I also turned off jump alternative. I believe that it's on jump alternative by default. I don't like that, so I turned it off. But play around with this and see what works for you as far as the jumping and sneaking stuff, if you have this enabled for the immersion. Okay, I think that is it for the basic setup stuff. There's also some other things that you can enable. Darker night sky. Darker nights is already enabled by default, which is good. And yeah, the no map mode. The reason I have this enabled on here is there's Navigate VR, which is already included in this list by default, and that gives you a physical map and compass, which you can use in the game. So not having a map it takes away the map button, so then you have to actually like use a physical map in the game to go places, which I enjoy. And then if you don't plan on doing the more advanced stuff, you can add better resource warnings, and this hidden location info will hide the meters in VR. I'm using an alternative version which keeps the debug menu from the notifications, but you can just enable the default one here if you don't want to mess with anything more advanced. And the better resource warnings will give you overlays so you don't have to see your meters on your HUD. And I'll be going over the MCM stuff for this as well. So enable this if you don't plan on adding any more mods. In my case, I am going to be doing that, so I'll be showing you the more advanced techniques in the next section. And if you do enable this, just in here, make sure to drag it up, put it above 128 or whatever, and then you're good. So cool. Let me go to the next section where I'll be going over how to merge mods and how to enable more mods for this list. Alright, one thing that you might want to add to your game for a little bit more immersion is getting rid of the enemy health bars. To do that, you have to go into the INI for SkyrimVR. So in order to get there, you can click on this little yellow button, go to Open Profile, find SkyrimVR, and then click on Control F, and you can type in enemy. That'll bring you down to here. Which is enemy meters scale max. This is totally optional. I would recommend it. It'll get rid of the enemy health bars, which in my opinion makes this much more immersive. And just set all of these to 0, and that will get rid of their health bars along with no meters on yourself. It can be a very immersive experience. Alright, so first thing that I am going to be talking about before I get into like more advanced stuff like merging plugins and things, is some of the performance edits that I have done to Librum. Now, if you just want to do the pre-installed version of Librum without any changes, go ahead and skip this section and just go straight to the MCM section in the game, where I will be talking about setting that up. If you are interested in getting a little bit more performance out of this list, then you can keep watching. So the base version of Librum looks really good, but in my opinion, it doesn't run that good. It was built for running an asynchronous warp. So it's built for like 45 FPS. Personally, I like running VR games at 90 FPS or above, so I have done some stuff to make the performance better, like eating the EMB and using things like the sharper eye or VR vision as a performance-friendly reshade, which makes the image sharp without having to use an EMB. So that's going to be the first thing that I'm going to be talking about. So if you want to get a little bit more performance and you previously installed the game folder files, go ahead and find d3d11.dl and this one d3dcompiler_46 from your SkyrimVR root folder, and just take it out and get rid of it, delete it. And then go back into Mod Organizer and find the EMB, Librum EMB selector, and go ahead and just uncheck that. And now you need to install a reshade. So the one that I have been using is the sharper eye. I've also heard good things about VR Vision. I have not personally tried this. I may at some point, so they're both very good alternatives to using an EMB, where you still get some color correction and the image remains sharp, but you are not going to have any kind of performance impact. So you can go ahead and download that manually. And then you want to extract it. So I'm going to use 7-zip. And go ahead and just copy this into your root SkyrimVR folder, and you're all set. You have Reshade installed, and the image will look sharp when you're in the game. It's based on the same things like Cast Sharpener, which is really useful to sharpen up the image. All right. Next, you're going to want to download VR FPS Stabilizer. So you can find that on Nexus. Not sure if it's included by default. It may at some point. I don't think it is right now. So if you want to install it, first thing that you want to do is you might want to set up your mod organizer to be able to install stuff. So go ahead and find the Nexus, and you can connect to Nexus with the API. And once you're logged into the next website, and it'll automatically connect Nexus. Now, if you if you had a different path for the download folder like I do, you can change that in the path section. Again, you want to find this little wrench key, click on that, find the path section, and then just point this towards your download folder that you have. In my case, it's going to be Librum download, so you can select that, and then just click OK. And then you can press F5, and that'll refresh everything, and you'll have your download path correct. So go ahead and do that. Anyways, you want to install VR FPS Stabilizer. Yes, you can find it by just searching here. Then you can double click on it, install it. You can set this to whatever HMD is. My personal recommendation for the best performance, if you have, I'm using a Vive Pro. So I set it to 90 Hertz, and then I set it to low, and then you can click on install, and that'll install it. It'll end up right here in the mod section, and you can go ahead and just click that on, and that should give you some more performance. Let me put this right here. These are some beta mods which are not available yet anywhere. All right, the next thing is hidden location. Now this is already included. I'm not sure exactly what version is included in the list. In my case, I like the one with notifications because I find that really useful for debugging stuff. So I installed hidden location with notifications, and I checked that on. That'll get rid of your meters and stuff, but still keep the notifications on the side of the HUD, which is useful. Private profile redirector. Now this will not work if you're using an EMB. This will only work if you've gotten rid of the EMB. And this will make the game start up a lot faster than if you're not using this, so you can like start up the game 6 or 7 minutes faster than you normally can. You want to install the VR version for VR, go ahead and do the same thing. Double click on it and you can check that on, and that will be faster. All right, let me hide these. All right, so the other thing, so some of the mods that I personally added, I'm just gonna go down a list right here, is I added, let me bring this up, Immersive Winds VR. This requires a little bit of extra setup on your part. You need a smart plug and some fans, but this will blow wind on you in the game depending on where you are. So if you're like on a high mountain, you'll actually get like real wind on your face, because it connects straight to the smart plug, so it'll blow wind faster or in like increasing increments to make it seem like there's actual wind in the game. So I prefer using that. So I like using this. I also use Sky Voice Reloaded. Dragonborn Speaks Naturally is already included, but Sky Voice Reloaded allows you to use your actual shouting to do the shots in the game. This also requires a bit more setup on your part. You have to use things like voice macro. That is the best way to do this, and you're gonna have to do some extra setup to get that to work. So in my case, I'll go through that quickly right now. So you have to install voice macro and then get the specific file for it, and then you're gonna have to do a lot of like editing yourself, so it'll pick up your specific accent, but in my opinion it's worth it, so that way when you're actually shouting it'll automatically do the shots for you, which is a pretty cool experience. You don't have to do this. Everything I'm talking about right now is completely optional. It's just some things that I like personally doing. Now if you use Sky Voice, I'd also recommend that you get this. You can also download this with the mod manager. That's unspoken shouts, and that will make it so it's just the shouting effect that goes off and not the actual voice. So it'll make it seem more like you're shouting, and the effect is going off from your own voice. All right, and then I also have better resource warnings, specifically different because I'm going to be merging these. You can see already we're at 256 plugins, which is not good. You have to be at 255 plugins or less to actually load into the game, and preferably you want like 254, but we're going to fix that. So anyways, the other two that I'm using, this is probably not everyone's cup of tea, but I'm using Hardcore Saving Overhaul and then my own mod called No Saving Ever. The reason I'm doing this is the Librum Modlist does include a death alternative based on respawn overhaul. So when you die in the game, you're going to be respawning back to a certain point, and then you have to go back and collect your stuff. Now, I personally enjoy that, but having the ability to save freely anywhere just kind of takes away the respawn mechanic for me, because you can just reload your previous save. So I'm using Hardcore Saving Overhaul, excuse me. And this is needed because if you respawn after using Hardcore Saving Overhaul, you will get your saving back after the death in the game. So this will just make sure that you can never actually save freely, and you can only save at beds or using something called a Saver's Brew in the game, which makes the respawning more meaningful, in my opinion. All right, so those are the ESPs that I have enabled in my game. Now, what we actually want to do, because I'm going to be merging these all together, is you want them all to be at the bottom. Now, you can see along with Magevr that we're at 258 plugins, which is not good. We're not going to be able to actually load into the game with this many plugins. It'll just like instantly fail. So we do have to merge these together. So I will be showing you how to do that right now. All right, so one more mod I wanted to go over is called Mute the Music by Ralliator. It makes a lot of awesome mods for Skyrim. Now this one will allow you to mute any kind of music that you don't want in the game. It also doesn't have to be merged because it doesn't use an ESP or anything. It's just music. or silent music files. So to get this, just like the other ones, download with Mod Manager on Nexus, then do open NMX link proxy. That'll download it to your mod organizer too, so you can go ahead and open that up, the Librum thing that installed. Now you can find it in the download section and then just double click on it. Now anything that has a check mark will be muted in the game. So set this to whatever you want. Personally, I keep the boss combat music on, so that's like dragons and stuff, so like special encounters. That way it makes it a little bit more interesting. I keep the generic combat music off though. I keep special location discover on. I keep the town and tavern music on as well, word wall, reward. There's some really good music in this, so if you like exploration music, go ahead and keep that on. I think I might actually keep that on for myself. Actually, I'll keep that off. I mean, it depends on what you want. I kind of find it a little bit more immersive to not have music blaring in the background except for certain locations. Right, and then this is the DLC stuff, so I like the Soulkern stuff. So if you uncheck it, that means music will play in the game. Checked means it won't. Keep the Eclipse stuff playing, and then I'll just keep that on. So go ahead. I like the chimes as well in Black Breach, and then install it. For me, I've already installed it once, so I have replaced, but for you, it's not going to say that. It'll just install automatically. All right, now in your thing, it's probably going to be at the bottom. You want to drag it up because it has to be above paper UI sounds, because that is conflicting. So in Mod Organizer 2, if you click on a mod, you're going to see some highlighted things in the list. Anything that's green, once you highlight it, that means that it's overwriting it, and then red means that it's being overwritten. You can also double click on any mod. Let me go ahead and do that. And then if you go to the conflict section, you can see exactly which files are being overwritten. So you can see that we're overwriting the prequel, which is a custom merged mod that the Librum creators made, which has a bunch of custom music, I'm assuming. So because we're keeping some of the music silent, it's overwriting that. And then the paper UI sounds is overwriting the mute the music mod, which is what we want. So you get the UI sounds from the paper stuff, which is nice. So, all right, that's it. And this one is not being merged. It doesn't use an ESP slot or anything. So moving on. All right, so I am going to be going over how to merge some mods together right now. This is a little bit more complicated, so if you want to just kind of skip to the MCM section, definitely go ahead and do that. But if you plan on adding these mods or a bunch of other mods, then continue watching, and I will show you how to merge these together so you can use them in the game. So first thing that you're going to want to do is go to your root SkyrimVR folder and make a duplicate of your SkyrimVR application. So just copy this, paste this, and then call this Skyrim SE, and you can just keep that in there. We're gonna need that in our root directory, so you can exit that. Now the next thing that we want to do is you want to create an empty mod. Go to this wrench icon, create empty mod, call this whatever you want. I'm gonna do Librum merge tutorial. Okay. We're just gonna drag that up for right now. Then you want to go into this thing called zedit. Click and run. Now other people may have different ways of merging mods. This is just the way I do it. And first thing that you're gonna want to do, you're gonna want to go to zmerge. And then you want to probably make a new profile because you're not gonna have one here. So you can do add profile. Call it like SkyrimVR or whatever. Now obviously it's not gonna have a SkyrimVR thing here, so you want to do Skyrim Special Edition. and then find wherever you have SkyrimVR installed. So Steam Games, Steam Apps, Common, SkyrimVR. Make that the root folder, and then that will work. You can close that, and then you can just go to SkyrimVR, and you can start a session. Excuse me. And this is loading all the mods. These are all the merges that I believe are already done. But we want to create a new merge, so you can just ignore all of this right now. I wouldn't mess with this if you don't want to risk messing up the list. So basically what you want to do is just check on those mods at the bottom, all the ones that we just enabled, and we're going to merge into one thing, which is Sky Voice, Hardcore Saving, No More Manual Saving, Immersive Wins, and Better Resource Warnings. We can go ahead and merge that into one. And then you can just go over here and you want to, it will be on this by default. So what you actually want to do is you want to change the folders here to wherever you have the mod data installed. And in my case, it's going to be under that root folder that we initially installed the list to. So it's going to be Librum. Then you're going to want to find the mods folder. And then for Sky Voice, we're going to scroll all the way down to the Sky Voice folder. Sky Voice. It's Sky Voice. All right. We have Sky Voice. We have to find Hardcore Saving. And again, it'll be on the root folder, but we don't want that because we're using Mod Organizer too. So we have to find Librum, go to Mods, then we have to find the Hardcore Saving mod folder. So scroll all the way down here until you find it. We're gonna find H. Found H, Hardcore Saving overhaul. No more manual saving. We're gonna find that. I'm also gonna have all these mods linked in the description as well if you're interested in doing what I'm doing here. Alright, let's go to mods. We're gonna find no more manual saving. Now the reason we have to merge these together, like I said before, there is not a lot of room to add extra stuff to this list, which works because it's very well done and everything is pretty much perfect the way it is. I've just added these just for some personal preferences for myself. Like a lot of people don't use smart fans, so it's not totally necessary, but I enjoy it. And if you want to add other stuff for yourself, this is probably something you're gonna have to do unless you only add like 1 or 2 mods. Great, so we gotta find Immersive Wins. Okay, and then Better Resource Warnings. All right, and then you can just double check that we've got all that done for the details thing. You can call this whatever you want. We're gonna do Librum merge tutorial. And then I do clean, but you can figure out what's best for you. I think the clean way is the better way of doing it. So do clean, make sure everything is good, and then click OK. And then you don't want to build all of these. You just want to build this one. So Librum merge tutorial, that's the one we just made. go ahead and build that. Don't click on build merges. That will probably screw something up. Just build the merge that you just made, your custom one. All right, and that's already built. So you can go ahead and close this. And I believe, all right, so I did actually find where it ended up. It ended up in the mods folder automatically. That's because I set it like that. So for you, you're probably going to want to set wherever you want this to end up. In my case, I would put it in that root folder and then put it into mods, and that way you don't even have to make a separate mods folder. It'll already be created automatically. And then you can do disable plugins if you want. So set it to that folder. And then this is our new merge thing right here. So you can go ahead and disable all of these. And then what you want to do is you want to put all the scripts and everything into the root of this mod folder. So copy this. Go to this one. Copy this. And put that right there. We're copying it all into one folder. That way we only have to enable one mod in Mod Organizer and Skyvoice. Okay. And there we go. We now have a merge. We can actually disable better. You can disable that too, because that's already merged into one. Now, once you've merged these together, you do want to drag this up until it's above the 120th slot. So I'm gonna put it on like 68, and we already have that merged together. All right, so I'm about to go into VR. I'm gonna put my headset on and then switch over to the VR view and show you some of the setup stuff like character customization, all the MCM stuff, and then some of the basic mechanics in the game. I'm not gonna explain too much because I think it's important to kind of discover stuff for yourself and figure out how this list works. But before I do that, one thing I would recommend doing, this is not necessary. If you have an overlay app, like for me specifically, I'm using Desktop Portal, but another good one is OVR Toolkits. If you happen to have this, or if you want to buy it, it allows you to bring in Windows into VR. Because to set up the MCMs, there's a decent amount you have to do. Now, this is subject to change. I believe they're actually going to automate a lot of this stuff, but for right now, there's like 11 to 14 MCMs. I actually have other MCM stuff that I personally do. What I would recommend doing is making like a text document. I have already made one myself, and just copy and paste the MCM stuff into this window. Or you can just make the website small and just have it on your desktop. And then with your overlay app, you can have that window attached to your HUD in the game. That way you don't have to continually go back and forth between desktop view and VR to get all the MCM stuff, because I don't remember all the MCM setup stuff that you have to do for VR. So this is just a helpful tip. But all right, we are ready to go into the game. We have all of our mods set up. We've got Librum set up, and then if you customize mods and you merge stuff, you can do that. And then I'm not sure I went over X Edit. I have another video which I'll link down below, but all Wabbajack lists already come with X Edit. So if you want to know more about looking for conflicts with mods, if you're planning to mod this, past what's already in the list, then look at that video. But we're gonna go into VR. So to play the list, if you already dragged over everything, you're gonna see play Librum. You have to go into VR first, and then you click on that and it will start running. So I will switch over to VR and we'll get the character set up and MCM stuff set up. Alright, so I am in VR right now. Before I start up the game, there's just a couple of things that I wanted to go over. So like I said before, if you have an overlay app, this is Desktop Portal. There's also a OVR Toolkit. I don't think this one is actually sold anymore, so that's the only overlay app that's available these days. Anyways, like I said before, if you make a text file, this is all the MCM stuff that's going to be useful. You can just put that on your hand or on your head, whatever. Now, the other thing I wanted to go over is a couple of apps that are going to be useful when setting up SkyrimVR, not just with this list, but like in general. First one is OVR Advanced Settings. You should have this anyway, just because it's a really useful app for VR, but it lets you reset your play space, which will be useful for setting up your full VRIK body. So if you place a controller on the floor, and you can do fixed floor, because sometimes the floor will like jump up when you're playing games or whatever, so that is useful for whenever that happens. And then for super sampling settings, I can show you what I have to get to your super sampling settings. It's going to be under general settings, and then you can go under video. So for everything, for my what I usually set my SS values to is 120% on a Vive Pro. So that's 2208 times 2452. For Skyrim specifically, I'm undersampling it. So if I find Skyrim in this list, let me try to find it here. Skyrim. I have that at 86%, which equals roughly around 100% of the resolution of a Vive Pro. So 2048 times 2276. This is using a 1080 Ti and a 9900 KS. So just set this to whatever you want. If you want better performance, obviously you can undersample it to get a better output. I think in the new beta settings, they have a new FOV stuff that you can do, but this will give you an easy way to adjust the performance to your needs. You're gonna have to restart the game every time you adjust this for it to actually go into effect. So that is good, but let me start up SkyrimVR and do that. Alright, so I'm in the main menu. It might take a while depending if this is the first time you're running it. You're going to be sitting here for a while, and it's also going to take longer if you're using an ENB. If you're using the private profile redirector and no ENB, it will start up faster, so depending on what you're doing. So anyways, we're going to start a new game. Alright, so here we are. That's going to pop up. We're in the character creation menu. And I will skip to when I've made my character. Alright, so I've made my character. I'm going to go ahead and save it. So it's going to be grip on your left index controller. If you're using the thing, it might take a few clicks because it's a little bit glitchy. If you're not using the menu, then it should be fine, but I like the cursor, mouse cursor for VR, so I'm going to do Gingas. Okay. You might see this pop up. We're going to wait for some other stuff. We'll pop up here. You just click through that. And then I'll set up my VRIK body. I would just wait for these to stop going off, because that just means things are getting loaded. In the meantime, you can use, so Skyrim has something called Higgs now, which is pretty cool. It lets you like pick up objects. I'm gonna holster that. You can also do the Half-Life Alyx thing. You can pick up all these. Sometimes a body spawns here with clothes. I'm not sure how it works, because most times when I've started a new character, it doesn't spawn for some reason. It might be because I'm using an edited version of this, which I made myself. It adds a bed to this place because I'm using the hardcore saving overhaul. Normally, you're not going to have a bed here. I might leave that in the description if anyone is interested. If you want the bed, if you're using the thing where you can't save, so we'll just let that load. Okay, so that stopped. First thing I'm gonna do is, let me show you the settings that I have. So for gameplay, you want to keep this on adapt. That's how this is set up. If you're not using hardcore saving, you can, I guess, set this to whatever you want. Normally, I keep these off anyway, just because I think they're not the most stable things in the world. Or you can just leave audio and display on default, or, you know, mess with your audio settings. All right, for VR, set those to however you want. Personally, I like snap turning. I don't normally turn anyway because I have a wireless headset, but set that to your own preferences. I also lowered the movement speed a little bit because I think the default was a bit too fast. Don't turn this on. I think that's off by default as well. It's a little glitchy. I keep it on anyway just because I like realistic swimming. And then I keep on realistic bow, and then the FOV stuff, so just set that to your own preferences for performance. You want to check off dynamic resolution and the 2 LED stuff, keep that off. And then I guess set this to your own preferences for your PC. You can lower the fade distance to get a little bit more performance. And then rain occlusion, that's normally off too. I personally like keeping that on. I think it looks cool, but it does have a hit on performance as well as tree shadows, but I keep this on anyway. And I just lower the shadow distance a bit to get more performance. You do want to keep this on for the sharpener though, or else you're gonna get a bunch of jaggies in the game, which is a little bit annoying. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do is we'll set up the VRIK thing. So like I said before, if you have this, you can make sure your height is correct. And we're gonna find a flat area, but first we are gonna go to the MCM. So it's gonna be all the way at the bottom. Right here. So you want to set this, first thing you want to do is set this, either keep it on default. On default it's 13 for I think both, which I find is a little bit too high above the head, so I lower a little bit to 9.5 just because I think that it matches up closer to where your actual head would be. And then for comfort sneaking, if you're using the auto jump thing, which lets you jump and sneak physically, you do want to put the comfort sneaking on 0 for it to work correctly. For body holsters, this is another personal preference of mine. I allow torch on your body so you can holster torches. For controls, do whatever you want, but there is actually no compass in this list. You're not gonna have a compass in the game. Makes it a little bit more immersive. You have to actually like find where NPCs are, which I think is cool. You can turn on selfie mode though if you want. It lets you see yourself by raising your hand. All right, for gestures, this is something I'd recommend doing. So for index at least, I have it on right hand thumb stick press. And then if I do press, we'll do press left first. If you do emulate key press, and then you can put that on quick magic, and then press plus right, emulate key press, put that on quick inventory. If you put press plus up on quick stats, and then I have press plus down on change outfit, and then for the left hand I put that on the map of province Isles, and right hand I put that on compass. And I'll show you what that does. In the game it lets you, if you hold the right thumbstick and you do this, it lets you go through all the things, and then this is the new thing. It's like a physical map, and it lets you actually, like, you have to physically look at the map. Let me unholster that. Basically, it's the same thing as going through this, but you don't have to open up this menu. You can just do that, which is a little bit quicker. And there's no map button. That's the no map thing, because it forces you to physically look at a map in the game. Okay. So we did, oh, right, VRIK. So we set our body. We have all the gestures and stuff. So what you want to do is go into the magic menu, and you want to do VRIK calibration power. Select that. And the power button is going to be the A button on your right controller, bottom button. So find like a nice flat area in the game, stand up straight, press that, and first thing you want to do is default size, then VR scale, then headset only, and your body will be lined up. Okay, now we'll do Magevr because it's close. This is an optional thing. So if you enabled it's an edited version with no holsters, which is good. So you just want to do spawn the backpack, go into your inventory, and go ahead and equip that. It's going to be right here. And then I holster it on my right shoulder. So if I press the grip button, that is now holstered, and you have a backpack. All right, so moving on, follow our framework. It is right here, under system. You're going to do load from file. Okay, we have to exit. Give that a second. And then crossfall. The nice thing is a lot of these are already auto done, so you don't have to go through like a million MCM stuff. We're going to start up crossfall. We're going to exit the menu again, click through that, and then we're just going to wait for the notifications to tell us that it's done. And give that a second. It says use that. I'm going to wait like a couple more settings for everything to... Alright, crossfall is enabled. Go back in here. And then this is not in their instructions, but it's something that I would suggest doing. So for effects and notifications, for weather sense, I would just keep that on text. And then for meters, I have the meters off. Normally they are on, or contextual, but I just keep them off because I think it's less immersive with a giant thing in your face. Okay. Moving on to Hunterborn. We're going to start this up, exit the menu, and we're going to wait. Okay, now we're going to go back into Hunterborn, and we're going to go to Profile, and we're going to load the profile. Okay. Right, exit that again. Alright, that's good. Okay. We're gonna go to lock overhaul. Right here. Activate that. Close the menu. That's activated. And we're gonna make sure that PSDI is enabled, and it is, which is good. If that isn't enabled, you can just click it on, and that should enable it. Alright. And then for this, again, this one isn't in their instructions. It's something I'd personally recommend, specifically for VR. You want to uncheck these. Keep it on if you want, but I found that the camera visual effects are really kind of annoying because it goes directly over your headset and it looks weird, so I keep this off. Alright, spell research. This one might take a while. So go down to spell research, and then it's going to be under options. You want to do import spells. Click accept, exit the menu. And you're gonna see a bunch of stuff popping up, importing all the spells. This is like every spell in the game. It's, I believe it's like getting rid of the spells for this list, so that's gonna take a while. And then while that's activating, we can go to Sunhelm. We can activate this. And you want to just wait while this is activating. That's gonna take a second, so keep your headset on and just wait while this is all loading. You got your water skin. Okay. I'm still loading. I think that finished? Not entirely sure. This is why having the notifications are kind of important. It's a debug menu too, so you can see what's going on. But okay, I think it's probably. I don't see anything about Sunhelm, so alright, we can move on to trade and barter. Right here. And then under barter rates, this one, put that on hardcore, as per the instructions. Okay. True armor. Scroll all the way down to save and load. And then do load balance settings is what it says. Okay, and then we should also wait while this is done. Wait for that. It's importing a lot of stuff. After the spell research is done, you should get a pop-up saying you're finished. Okay, I think that's good. Alright, so that has finished importing. Vigor, right here. We're gonna start that. And spell research finished. So that's good. Alright, and then this is specific for VR, the Nemesis PCEA. Which is under MN and Nemesis. A lot of menus. Alright. Nemesis PCA. You want to, I believe, activate both of that. Okay. Cool. Alright, so I'll just continue to let that finish. Now this is for better resource warnings. This is all, so I finished all the MCM stuff for the basic list. Now if you haven't added anything else, then skip to the section where I talk about the gameplay stuff, but I'm gonna go over some of the custom things that I have personally added. starting right now. So the first is going to be better resource warnings. So for this, I put health on red, and then the percentage chance, I put it on 75, and the modifier, I have that on 0.8. For stamina, I put that on green, and then I have that on 35, and the modifier, excuse me, actually I have this at 75, and the modifier is going to be 35. For magicka, because magic is hard to come by with this, I have that on black and white, and the percentage chance, I have that on 50, and the modifier is 1. Okay. And now if you're using the hardcore saving overhaul, like I said, normally there's not a bed here. First thing you want to do is go into SOT sleeping encounters, and we're gonna make this specific area safe, so just go ahead and click a marker. I'm gonna set it to 1, and that'll make it so this is safe. So I am gonna sleep for an hour. You're gonna see this coin drop, so we're gonna go ahead and get that coin. I'm gonna go to the menu. Still have that whole the compass in my hand. Alright, we want to click on the coin. Enable hardcore saving. Okay, that is enabled. So now I'm gonna do all this, and the game should be saved right now. You might not see it until you actually like exit. Oh, actually, no, it did show up. That's good. These are also hard saves, so. All right, so I'm back. I forgot that I was on a beta version of Spell Wheel, which was screwing up my ability to set the key bindings. So anyway, Spell Wheel, it lets you quick select stuff. Now normally that's on grip plus trigger, but I have a better way of getting that to activate. So come over here. Again, choose whatever preset you want. You can set it to, I'll just keep it on mage because I'm gonna change that anyway. So normally it's on this grip plus trigger on both hands. What I do is I set it to, at least on the index, I set it to the touchpad, and then I put that on empty, so then you only have to press the touchpad to get your thing to show up. So you can just do this. And so I'm just pressing the touchpad right now, which I think is a little bit easier on your hand to get that to show up. Now, for this, you can set whatever type you want. The way I usually set up mine is for the left hand, I have show torches. I keep all stamina, magic potions shown. And then I have my favorited spells, powers, and scrolls. I take off staffs, but, you know, keep that on whatever you want. So I play as like a spell sword type of person, but, you know, set it to whatever, I guess, kind of character you like playing as. So I keep health potions on this side. I take off stamina potions. I'll keep stamina potions right here, or I'll just set all potions on that side. I show all food because there aren't needs in this, and then I do favorited, melee weapons, and I think that's it. You can also show like the weight menu or whatever if you want. That is important to you. And now you can see I have this shown and this shown. I don't favorite anything else besides that, like the map I don't need to, because I can just swipe down and get access to that. And then if you go right here, that'll unequip it. Now my favorite, I have no melee weapons, but if I grab one. And I favorite that. Favorites. That should show up. So. Good. Alright. Let me grab this stuff. Which is the A button if you're not aware. If you do trigger, I think that uses it. But, okay, I think, oh yeah, the last thing that, again, not on their instructions, but I personally like it, is if you set obsidian to seasons, that makes it a little bit more cinematic. Okay, so another custom thing is with the hardcore saving, you have the ability to make savers brew, which lets you save anywhere. Now, normally, you are not going to be able to save, so I can't save. And if I die in the game, I'll respawn back here, which I think is kind of exciting. So I'm just gonna torch, search around for some other stuff that might be helpful. Let me put that right here. I am now gonna go over some of the character creation stuff and then some of the mechanics in the game. So I'm gonna do that. Grab this. Alright, so character creation in this list is pretty important, and it's definitely a lot different than normal Skyrim. So you're not going to be able to choose another of these out into the world. The only way to get back here is by dying, which is not something you want to do because I think it takes away some of your experience. And also you lose all of your shit, so you're going to have to go back into the world and try to find it without dying again. I believe. If you die again, I think it's gone for good. I'm not entirely sure about that, but you don't want to die. That's important, but you're only going to be able to choose one of these. So on the website, if you read the character creation tab, they go over in detail some of the ways you can make your character, and these are different, so different than normal Skyrim. So thief, you're better with sneaks and archers, but you're less effective with melee weapons. So they got a whole bunch of things that you can choose, like the Lady Stone, or the Lord, whatever. You have enhanced stamina with regular attacks, but enemies, but their health and stamina is higher. So for every perk, there's like a negative aspect to it. Now, I use natural locomotion when I play Skyrim, which lets me like run and jump physically in the game. So the one that I normally like getting is the Steed. This lets you move faster and you have more stamina, but it only regenerates while running, which isn't really a big problem because, you know, normally I'm going to be running anyway. That way I won't run out of stamina and I can just like sprint long distances. That's the one I choose, but you know, you can look at all of them. Like this one, you move faster and deal more sneak damage, but you have less health. So if I look, I now have a lot of stamina. But in this list, you have less magic and you start with less health by default, because normally the lore in Skyrim is magic is hard to come by, which makes sense. So you actually have to like go to the College of Winterhold. Alright, another big aspect to character creation is going to be religion. So you get extra powers by praying every day. There's a lot of different ones that you can do. I am probably, what does the Bella do? I'll improve skills. No, I want the one that gives me more health. Zack attack? Improved attacks against dragons. Who cares? Is it Mara? Ah, this one. Okay, so I might do this because getting diseased with this list is really bad. You'll die really easily. So I'm gonna do Mara. I'll accept the gift of Mara. And then I have a pray thing. And then I can't pray here, but if you pray frequently, you will, good stuff. Let me take this honey. Make sure you grab everything here. It's all gonna be very important. Like there's a bow. That will be useful. now, this is where you can start in the game. There's a lot of different areas. I'll show you that in a second. I'm just gonna search around. Here's another stone that I've already gotten one. Grab these plates to sell if I want, I guess. I can holster that right here if I want to do that. But I'm probably not going to. So, alright. This is the Librum stuff. You'll find these scattered around the world, which I think give you like special powers. I haven't actually found any. But we collected all the stuff, and now I will show you the trait system. This is just something about the realm. Sorry, so you're gonna click on medical history right here. This is the trait system. It's another aspect of character creation. You don't have to do this. It is completely optional. You can play without traits. Traits give you like special perks, but you have to have it equal 0. So to get a trait, you do trait 1. All the benefits, they're going to cost different points. So depending on how good it is, like this one is -5 points. So I'm going to have to take a negative trait equal to 5 in order for that to work. You can do more damage with weapons. I am probably, the one I've normally done so far is healing faster in water. Healing faster in general, that's -8, so I'd have to take a lot of negative stuff for that to work, but I'll just do healing faster in water. And then for the detriments, you can do stunned in magic. So I'm not going to do that because I might actually want to do magic. You do 20% less damage from animals. I'll probably just do that. That's not that bad. Okay, now it's equal to 0. You can see up there. And then we can do done. And I don't think you can change that. I'm not entirely sure. No, it's permanent. So that's our trait for our character now. You can't change that after you choose it. Alright, so if you're not doing hardcore saving, I would go ahead and save now because I am. I'm gonna use the bed. Sleep another hour. And then you'll see. Game is saved. Okay, so now I will go into the world and show you some of the mechanics. Also, another thing with hardcore saving, if you're not near a bed and you want to like exit the game, but you don't have a bed near you, one thing that you can do is if you go over to the lucky coin and you select it, you have an exit save. So you just click save and quit. That will save the game and then you can exit. If you just normally exit without doing that, you're not going to save. So you're going to end up back at wherever your last bed save was. Or if you had a saver's brew, if you use that. So, alright, we'll go out into the world. So you can choose any of these starting places. Again, unless you have the person spawn, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and grab these real quick. Grab everything you can here. So it's a hardcore-ish game. Oh, yeah. For another thing, for setting this up, just for convenience sake, I would recommend that you favorites pray for the religion, and then continuance will show you your current needs. Doomsday clock. This is optional. So what Doomsday clock does? I have 364 days to kill Alduin, or the game will end and everything will just die and I can't continue. So it gives you a little bit of rush on killing the dragon, which I think is pretty cool. Drink and fill, I would favorite this. And then probably weather sense, so you can find out the current weather for Frostfall. The rest, I don't know, I guess it's just up to you. sense direction. Actually, I might just take that off because there's a compass, so that would be under so many MCM menus. Hunterborn is what gives you sense direction. This one, optional, but enable. I'm gonna take that off because there's no points. Because there's a physical compass, so I don't know why I would use that. Keep it on if you want, I guess. But okay, and I guess if you have a lantern, which I think there is a lantern here, as far as I know. Yeah, there's a lantern. I think you have to attach it to yourself. I haven't actually figured out how to do that yet, but alright, we have a lantern, but this will allow you to check your needs by holstering it. Until, at least, in the next version of Spellwheel, if he does release it, you can get it on your hands, but that's not here at the moment, so. Okay, that's fine. Anyways, we've done that. Let me just make one more save here. Okay. Plates. I'm parched. Alright, we are going to go out into the world. We've done everything we can here. We have no weapons or anything. I guess I have a pickaxe. And I'll show you some mechanics. So, do this. And just wait a second. This is, it's at the top. This is the one I would recommend you do, but I guess you can start anywhere you want, so. Alright. Let's see, it's cold. And we have to get to Helgen, excuse me. You do have to read the book to get started, so can I read this? I guess read it if you want. Nights are also darker in this list as well. It makes it scarier. And if you're doing the immersive winds, you can feel wind on your face. So immersive. And I'm naked. That's fine. I think I might change the daytime. I'm not actually sure. Yeah, change the day. It's just how the quest works. Okay. And I don't want to spoil too much. I'm probably just gonna redo this mail game. Go ahead and get yourself like clothes or whatever when you go there. But I want to get murdered. God, stamina is low right now. I think is it low? For some reason, this isn't going off. I'll figure that out later. Doesn't matter. Oh yeah, okay, it's going up now. You can see the overlay. I'm low on my stamina. It'll gradually become less green. But I would like to die so I can show you the respawning. I'm at 0. Shit. Maybe I'll just die somehow? Kill me, please. Please kill me.
Stupid dog. Hey!
Okay. Good. Murder me. Alright. You're gonna see, we're gonna reload. In a second. You can say, ended up in Tamriel. then all my stuff will get yeeted. Okay. You just click through this. It's gonna yeet me somewhere. It's gonna be random. So, alright. I still don't have stamina for some reason. Probably because I ran out of it and I only gain it while running. Normally I wouldn't be running, sprinting all over. So, okay. And now you have to go back and get your stuff wherever that was. So that's what happens when you die. I'm gonna take another perk right now so I can... Oh, okay. I'm finally getting some stamina back. Yeah, it's coming back slowly. Alright. What else? Let me get rid of that. I'll just take this one. So I'll get my stuff back. Okay. Anyways, I think I've gone over pretty much all you need to know. There's also things like be seated, so if you don't know what be seated does, you physically take a seat somewhere, and then you press the button. That'll physically seat you down, and then you can get up, and you'll go back. And then in like inns, you can also drink physically, and stuff. Okay. Yeah, that's I think I covered pretty much everything about this list. I don't want to spoil too much because it's pretty fun. But yeah, hopefully you guys check this out. It's a good time. And then I will also be streaming this occasionally on my Twitch, twitch.tv/GingasVR if you want to check it out. But yeah, go ahead and have fun with this, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.